room to kick until the fire burns out.
The two types, Dionysus and the crucified. To determine whether the typical religious man is a form of decadence, the great innovators are one and all morbid and epileptic. But are we not here omitting one type of religious man, the pagan? Is the pagan cult not a form of thanksgiving and affirmation of life? Must its highest representative not be an apology for and a deification of life, the type of a well-constituted and aesthetically overflowing spirit? The type of a spirit that takes into itself and redeems contradictions and questionable aspects of existence? It is here I set the Dionysus of the Greeks, the religious affirmation of life whole and not denied or in part, typical that the sexual act arouses profundity, mystery, and reverence. Dionysus versus the crucified, there you have the antithesis. It is not a difference in regard to their martyrdom, it is a difference in the meaning of it. Life itself, its eternal fruitfulness and reoccurrence, creates torment, destruction, the will to annihilation. In the other case, suffering, the crucified as the innocent one, counts as an objection to this life, as a formula for its condemnation. One will see that the problem is that of the meaning of suffering, whether a Christian meaning or a tragic meaning. In the former case, it is supposed to be the path to a holy existence. In the latter case, being is counted as holy enough to justify even a monstrous amount of suffering. The tragic man affirms even the harshest suffering. He is sufficiently strong, rich, and capable of defying to do so. The Christian denies even the happiest lot on earth. He is sufficiently weak, poor, disinherited to suffer from life, in whatever form he meets it. The God on the cross is a curse on life, a signpost to seek redemption from life. Dionysus cut to pieces is a promise of life. It will be eternally reborn and return again from destruction.
Nihilism is a fairly new word and concept in 19th century philosophy. It came from Russia, where it essentially referred to the rebellion of the younger generation against their elders. But nihilism in Nietzsche is a very important concept. He sees it as he puts it, a specter that's haunting Europe, a phrase which we hear elsewhere as well. He defines nihilism in his notes as the highest values devaluing themselves.
Dionysus tells us that there is a tragic flaw in our nature. This is inevitable. We experience it every day. I don't need to validate it. I just need to recognize it and to accept it and try to live with it. Right? One strand of Plato that comes very strongly into our culture, which is this sense of the transcendent as being something that in some way overcomes the sensible, the bodily. This notion of the soul where the emotions are dark and irrational, bad. We need to somehow control them, dominate them, and keep them under our our grasp. And reason connects us to the transcendent, which is in another world. Tradition, in the Western tradition, that denies the bodily, that denies the limitation of human beings, the fragility of our existence, that wants to get beyond that into some transcendent. Even if we deny God now, still we now want to create our own transcendence. And this is hubris. This is hubris of the purest sort, and a forgetfulness, an absolute forgetfulness of the emotions, of the bodily, that has a wisdom of its own. Pascal said, no, the heart has its reasons that reason cannot comprehend. And I think that philosophers, especially in our Western analytical tradition, seem to have been intent on repressing that fact, on denying it.
Various recording styles and techniques have always alternated in and out of style throughout modern music, and sooner or later things need to be shaken up. Lo-fi is all the rage, with hordes of new bands embracing and pushing the limits of the sound to fresh heights. It's on volume when you're listening to lo-fi stuff. To maximize enjoyment and fun, it's imperative that you...
guys gotta be quiet.
Room to kick until the fire burns out.
Take away my air conditioner. You'll make it hard for me to sleep. They took away my television, and now I can't breathe.
It's more alive. Like the recording itself is alive as well as the music.
Some people are going to be turned off by the sound on it, but you know, some people are just going to go crazy.
People do something lo-fi that like is something that's been done many times before. It like sounds fresh all of a sudden. Because people are just sick of things sounding the same all the time.
Volume is just a barometer for how much fun you're having, you know? If you like a song, you turn it up.
At the end of the day, what we're doing now sounds better, I think, than something more high-end.
Like, it's about poverty, but it's also about being able to, like, deal with that and realize this is what I got. I'm going to use it the best I can.
So there's this collective violence over and against Pentheus. Well, Nietzsche sees this as the way that the world works. This is the will to survive. Dionysus has the will to survive, not just the will to survive, but the will to power. And they end up seeing Pentheus as a wild animal. And they circle around Pentheus and they end up killing him and eating him. Kind of a social Darwin idea, where the world has this will to survive. All of the species in the world have a will to survive, which often puts animals and humans over and against others for this survival. Kind of a survival of the fittest idea, right? Well, Nietzsche sees this and says there's truth in that. But Nietzsche takes it a step further and says it's not just this will to survive, it's this will to power. All humans are consumed with this will to power, which puts us over and against others. The way that we get power is by taking it from others. So there's kind of this lack of a concern for the victims of culture. It's not that Jesus doesn't see the way the world is. I think he gets this social Darwin idea. I think he gets it perfectly. But he sees that as wrong. He sees this will to power as something that's wrong with the world, as an injustice in the world, and seeks to transform that injustice into something else. And the only way that Jesus can see to do that is through the love to serve, love to forgive. Not the love for power, but the love to serve.
kick until the fire burns out.